In today's video, we're diving into a fascinating question. What can Labour learn from the recent shake-up in American politics? With Trump back in the White House and crypto communities surging in influence, there are some surprising insights into economic discontent, trust in government, and how policies connect or fail to connect with ordinary people. Stay tuned as we explore what this means for Labour's future and the UK economy. Hi everybody and welcome to the latest episode of Enter Crypto with me, Chris Kenyon. Now in this video we're going to be asking and answering the question of what the British government can possibly learn from America's recent political shake-up. We are now less than a week just after Labour unveiled its autumn budget. This has been a central piece of its pro-growth strategy for the UK. And meanwhile, the Americans have delivered their verdict on 4 years of economic growth under the Biden administration. Donald Trump's victory has sent a loud and clear message, and that is that while Democrats have been insisting the economy was thriving, many Americans have felt a very different reality. So the question is, what lessons can the British government take from this? Well, one that stands out to me is that growth alone isn't enough to ease economic discontent. Focusing on GDP or productivity does not address how people actually feel or experience the economy through rising costs or stagnant wages or even through fewer opportunities. And critically, it doesn't touch the deeper frustrations that many have with how the economy is governed. And there is actually, in my opinion, a crypto connection here in how and what it reveals about this economic discontent. Because here's the twist that you may not expect. And it is that to understand this frustration, we can turn to the crypto community. That's right, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the world of digital currencies. Now, crypto does have a reputation for being full of gamblers and get-rich-quick schemes, but if you look closer, you'll see something more profound. And that is that many in the crypto world came of age during or after the 2008 financial crisis, which was a period that redefined financial security, or rather, more accurately, insecurity. And that's because the average man that has been, after that, was saddled with debt, locked out of home ownership, and just basically had to sit by and watch inflation erode their purchasing power or buying power. They actually turned to crypto as this kind of escape hatch from what they see as a broken system. And so for many, many people out there, Bitcoin and Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies and digital assets aren't just technical innovations. They are a radical experiment in rethinking how money and finance should actually work. Because these platforms are aiming to distribute power, resist corruption, operate on consensus and how governance works even, and voting systems and complicated things like that. And so to the crypto community, this isn't just theory. It's proof that an alternative to traditional economic systems can actually work. And now with Trump cozying up to the crypto crowd, their confidence is surging. And they believe that the next US administration will not be standing in their way, and the rising prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum suggest that they might be right. So let's talk about stealth taxes, the trust deficit, we can call it, and also what does this actually have to do, or any of this have to do with the British government? Well, let's talk about their autumn budget. Labour promised not to raise taxes on working people, yet the budget included measures like higher employer national insurance contributions, which are a move that some critics say amounts to an indirect tax on workers. You've got the freezing of income tax thresholds or some call it the fiscal drag. As inflation pushes wages up, more and more people are nudged into higher tax brackets, which effectively increases their tax burden without any new legislation. So we've got people paying more tax because they just fall into these higher brackets, but we've got no new legislation whatsoever. And so these kind of policies are often called stealth taxes, and these are going to frustrate, these just frustrate voters, obviously. And now to the crypto community. This is all part of a bigger issue because we are arguing that governments rely on these covert policies like deficit spending and inflation. These are all, hidden from us. And the government don't like talking about these types of things. They'll do anything to avoid tough conversations especially about taxation. And as one Bitcoiner once put it, when governments can't tax people anymore, they just borrow. And borrowing is just another way of taxing people just further down the line. And this borrowing, they say, leads to inflation, eroding the value of people's money and livelihoods. And in our view, it's basically just a hidden tax on everyone, and it's one that bypasses public consent. And so there's a lesson here in transparency and engagement, because whether you agree with the crypto critique or not, it raises this important question, and that is, how democratic are these sort of under the radar policies, these hidden policies? Because if governments implement measures without openly explaining their costs and trade-offs, then are they truly respecting the will of the people? And the crypto community challenges the idea that economic policy is too complicated for ordinary citizens, and we as individuals are, people in the crypto community anyway, are deeply engaged with topics like inflation and monetary policy, and these are issues that governments often don't like to talk about. They often dismiss them as too complex for the public to grasp. They don't think that the average man would be able to understand these types of concepts, which is, in my opinion, just insulting. And so we have this disconnect that's highlighting a growing frustration, and people feel shut out of economic decision making, and when voters feel ignored, they will turn to alternatives. Whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's another political figure like Trump promising to shake up the system. And if the British government want to take these lessons seriously, they have to first focus on more than just growth. They just talk about growth and GDP over and over and over again. It's it's kind of the official party line. That's not what people want to hear, and it's definitely not what people want to see. They want to see more than just growth. They want their everyday struggles that they face addressed. Things like housing, wages, inflation, and they also want this to be transparent. If tough decisions need to be made, then explain them honestly. People can deal with pretty much anything. You can give somebody really bad news, and as long as you're being honest and you've explained it to them as best as you can and you've done your best, people are really forgiving. They can get on board quite quickly, because people value clarity over feeling like they've been misled. And finally, they should not underestimate the public's ability to engage with economic issues. This is a big mistake. By fostering open conversations, making economic policy accessible, the government can actually rebuild trust and show that it's a party that is working for everyone, not just the experts or the elites. And so I suppose my point here is for the government, to take away here, it's pretty simple. And that is that the economy isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's actually about people's lives. It's about their frustrations. And actually it's about their hopes as well for the future. And so the government here has an opportunity to not just promise growth, but to create this, a fairer, more inclusive economy, if you will, and that starts with listening. Let me know in the comments what you think. Can Labour and the British government in this case actually rise to the challenge? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's what I've got for you today, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any future updates. And I'll see you all in the next video.